Today is August 25th. The Bucs took 3 of 4 this weekend from the Redlegs. I saw Thomas Harrington pitch on Friday night. Are we done with the Apple TV this season? Injuries, injury update, roster shakeups, full slate tonight. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and we have a lot to get into. My mic sounds a bit weird to me. I'm not sure why. So maybe it's just my headphones. I don't know. It sounds a little different. Either way. If it doesn't sound different to you guys, that's all that really matters. So we got a lot to talk about. Injuries, injury updates, as I said, Stratton, Bart, Jones, Holderman, Majinski, Baraki, Hayes, Nicky G, even Kutch. Lots of updates came out today. A lot of craziness. There was a walk-off home run today. A bullpen issue again. We had some defense this weekend. We had all kinds of stuff. I don't know how much of this we'll get into. Maybe some of the live chat here on YouTube will kind of steer us in one direction or another one, but we'll see. If you're in here, say hi. If you're listening on audio or watching this later, we do go live with all these shows, and you can come in and join the chat on YouTube when we record live. Sunday nights are 9 just about every week. Rarely changes. Thursdays are kind of a little bit random, but usually a little late night bucket on Thursdays. If you are coming across the YouTube page, hit that subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we're coming. We're going live anytime we have it scheduled. So stop by, hang out. It's a good time. If you did listen to our episode Friday, here we go. Pitt City World Series back on. Let's go. If you did listen, then I kind of previewed or said that I would have a friend of mine on, and his wonderful wife also had plans for the family to go to their parents' lake house this weekend. So he's obviously not here. OG says 5x5 with your audio. Not sure. Can't complain too much about a 4-game series win, says Shared. And that is the 100% truth. Anytime you can not split a 4-game series and take 3 out of 4, it's a big swing. So that's always good. As for Jake, I believe he's still in California. I texted him a little bit ago and I said, "What are you doing tonight?" I could do an update. I actually even considered giving him a call while we were on here just to see if he had any updates, because he went to a Giants game and he went to an A's game, and jokingly sent me and our older brother a text that said, when he was in Oakland, and said, "Oh, the view in Pittsburgh is still better," as if Oakland was going to have a better view. Obviously, he did say though that he liked PNC over San Francisco, which is notable because San Francisco is also another highly touted and well loved stadium. He's biased, sure, but it's a review nonetheless. So I haven't heard anything from him though. I mean, I haven't really talked to him at all while he's been there. So I'm sure we'll get the scoop on how good it actually was and all that stuff. So anyway, Pirates take 3 out of 4 from the Reds this weekend. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff. I mean, there was a lot that happened. There's a lot that happened today, even after the game. But we'll get into the series a little bit first. We'll get into a couple things here because There's a couple things of note that I don't want to beat. Well, first off, let's talk Yasmani Grandal walk-off home run. That's always great. Now, OG says Oakland used to have a nice view of the hills before they built Mount Davis. Is that... They added extra seats? I guess I didn't really realize that. Gary, Gary's in the chat. Ready for Henry's return? That is definitely something we're going to talk about. Matt says Yaz doing things, and exciting walk-off. Kind of one of those things where you just don't know. I mean, he does kind of have a flair for that sort of thing, but you end up getting a win. So I want to say that just to be positive a little bit on the onset of this thing, because you won 3 games out of 4 with a run differential of +1. That's kind of the story a little bit for this team. +1 run differential, 3 wins. You went 3-1. And that's obviously because there was a blowout game, an 8-run game on Saturday. And it's just seen a lot of this. And then you see the bullpen with Bucs and Nicholas coming in. No, I don't want to throw shade to those two guys. They've both been very good. I got the numbers here in my notes for Bucs because, I mean, his numbers are great, right? 0.96 ERA and WHIP. He's been since he joined the Pirates. But they about blew Sunday's game in a way that, I mean, it was a 2-game lead or 2-run lead, so it's not like it was a major upset like we've seen in some others. But it's just the idea that how many times are the Pirates going to have this contagious reliever? I'm struggling to find the words where one guy comes out and he doesn't have it. That's fine. Kyle Nicholas has been great. He gives up a single, he gives up a double, and it's like, let's get him out of there. We've got a 2-run lead. And you get him out of there, and the very next guy struggles as well. You walk in a run, and that seems to be something that maybe earlier in the season he would have walked in 2 runs, but they got him out too. And then the next guy would have came in and walked in 2 more. Dennis Santana kind of settles it in, keeps it a 1-run lead, and Yaz hits the walk-off home run, which was crazy and very exciting, and you get 3 out of 4 out of it. So I did look up a couple things here because the run differential and how many blowouts, 6+ run games. Pirates have played in 27 games this year decided by 6+ runs. They have an 11-16 record and a -39 run differential in those games. 9 of those 16 losses were at home. And somehow I have 6 on the road, but that math doesn't add up. So apparently it's 7 on the road. But one of those was even in extra innings, and it was a 6+ run game. So, you look at things like you just took 3 of 4 from the Reds. You have a -28 run differential. The Reds have a +27 or a +29 run differential, something like that. And when you look at those things, you wonder who's the better team. Well, the Pirates have a pretty good record against the Reds so far. So I don't know. I don't know how you do it. 38 games, this team has given up 6+ runs. They're 6-32 in those games with a -154 run differential. So a couple things there on, and I don't know how you feel about that. I'm kind of leaving it up. I will say this though, Jalen Bucs, I see Pit City throws in cheeks, and I'm sure that's what that is. But Jalen Bucs has been good since he came here. He's inherited 5 runners and 2 of them have scored. That's not a very big sample size. That's a 40% inherited runner score percentage, which is 6% above the league average of 34. Who's the best on our team, essentially, with the lowest percentage at 17%? And it's Aroldis Chapman, who has let 2 of 12 inherited runners scored. So there is some question of like, why not go to Chapman there? But Beeks has been good. I maybe not the inherited runners. He's now inherited 7 runners and 4 of them have scored. That's 57%. And as a team, we were at 33. After those 2 runs, we went to 34. But then, of course, Santana inherited 3 runners and did not let them score. So back to 33% and just a tick below league average in that. And I think you'd be surprised to know that David Bednar has not allowed an inherited runner all year. His only inherited runners were the 3 inherited runners. I think, what was it last week that he didn't let score? So just over 3. The other teams are scoring inherited runners. But anyway, just kind of an interesting way to look at some of the things that the Pirates have done this season. And you know, you look at run differential, and if you just look at the number minus 28, which I think is actually Baseball Reference does and I'm going to butcher this. I have to look at the word. Baseball Reference does the Pythagorean, nailed it the first time, Pythagorean win-loss record. And based on our run differential, it's nailed. It's right there. It is the exact record that we have. So, well, at least going into Sunday, because their numbers will update. So, but I imagine it's going to be the same. So we're kind of right there, right where we're supposed to be. I don't know though. I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse about what's going on. I'm not really sure. The big news right now is all the roster moves that have been made. And we've got some comments here, a lot of excitement for Henry Davis. Okay, before we jump into that, what do we got, Steel City? What are we doing here? Crazy idea in football, teams build to win versus their division. Do you think it's possible for Ben Sherrington is building to beat the division, and that's why the Bucs have the Reds number this year? I don't know. I don't think, especially with a more balanced schedule where you get to play everybody. I mean, it seems like Sherrington's just building pitching first. Yeah, Jim, another solo show. So Jim was on the other day. My buddy couldn't make it on. They had other plans that he did not know about. So we're going to try next time. Jake's still either on his way home from California or he's still there. I haven't figured it out yet. He hasn't texted me back. But it seems like Sherrington's going pitching heavy, and I think pitching in general wins games. I don't think that there's really I don't think there's a specific strategy. We've had the Reds number for quite a while. I don't know if anybody has those numbers, but it's like several years. But Jim says that he doesn't think it's possible Ben has a plan at all. I'm sure there's a plan and all of that, but I just don't think that they're focusing on the division specifically for that reason. I think that especially right now for a team that was just rebuilding, I think you're building just to get a better team in general. But Jim says that he thinks we have the Reds number simply just because they're bad. Jim, I think you could probably make a comment. That's probably your least favorite team, right? You're a little close to that. So might be a little bit bias on that. But yeah, I mean, we have had the Reds number and it's been quite some time. So I don't really know that that's a specific thing. Anyway, a lot of roster moves are coming and a lot to maybe break down a lot of different reports, a lot of different things to kind of break down. So the small one, Tamar Johnson being called up to Double-A Altoona, which may be, to me, I think a little bit surprising. I was glad to see it. He's hitting 238, 372 on base, 757 OPS, in Greensboro with 13 homers, 20 bags, 17 doubles. All in all, I mean, 372 on base ain't bad. So there is a little bit. He did hit 319 with a 443 on base in July with 4 homers. So that was good. It felt like he was heating up, felt like he kind of figured something out, raised those numbers a lot. But in August, it's been 203 with a 277 on base. Just 2 homers. So a little bit of up and down for Termarr. He has cut the strikeouts down in the last 2 months, both July and August. Those strikeouts have been down. So I feel like there's a little bit there to say that they're always going to look for things that they like in a player more than just the results that are on the field. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm really excited to see how he responds to it. Both kind of across the way. Like Altoona, I don't really know. I mean, Greensboro rather is supposed to be more of a hitting ballpark. So, we'll see how that changes. We've got some more Reds comments coming in, and the Cubs, maybe the Braves and the Brewers. We got a lot there. Pit City What says he's going to be seeing Termarr in Altoona on September 1st. Perfect timing. That is perfect timing. So that's good. Gary said the Reds are a great matchup for the Pirates. They can't capitalize on their mistakes and make plenty of themselves. The Pirates pitching strongest unit on either team. Yeah, and there was like a moment when it looked like the Reds pitching staff was going to be better than it is. They've struggled to stay healthy, and even when they have, I really like Nick Lodolo, and he kind of showed his good and his bad against the Pirates on Thursday, where he had 9 strikeouts and gave up, 5-6 runs? So, I mean, kind of like a little bit of both there for Lodolo. Jim says, I've come to realize if you can keep Ellie from beating you, no one else there can do it. I think that's a good point, too. They do rely heavily on Ellie, and Gary adds McLean will make them harder to beat next year. McLean's a good player, too, so I think that's going to be a big swing for them. And I think just filling it out, I think you could say that I'm forgetting his name now. The free agent pickup that some of us were even interested in bringing him to Pittsburgh. He's really been kind of a disappointment this season too. Hasn't really shown up all the way. David Bell has a lot of problems. I was really eager to get a Reds fan on here to talk about David Bell, and man, me personally, I mean, I don't want to, say too much, but I think he's the worst manager out there. So I don't know. So according to Robert Murray, there's a lot of shakeup. Well, I guess let's go. Ryder Ryan was DFA'd when McKinney was called up. He's been outrighted into Candelario. That's the name. Sorry, interrupt myself. Candelario is the player that's really been kind of an upset for this season. According to Robert Murray, Michael A. Taylor has been placed on outright waivers. And just for clarity's sake, I know it's going to be talked about. It's going to be posted everywhere. Outright waivers is different now than it ever was, or at least it's different now. The process is completely different than it was because there's no trades now. There's no, after the trade deadline, there are no waiver trades. So outright waivers is essentially, he doesn't go off the roster like designated for assignment. It's just he's placed on waivers. If somebody claims him, they're irrevocable. They lose him. He goes to that team, and they take on the rest of the contract and everything. They just completely get the player. If he clears, then you basically have an option. If you want to outright him to AAA, then you don't have to pass him through waivers again. But they could just keep him. So it's kind of it's a little bit different. They can't pull him back if somebody does claim him. There's no trade that you can make if he's claimed or anything like that. So he'll still play during this, I believe. I don't think anything really changes, except for the fact that if somebody claims him, he goes to them. And if multiple teams claim him, the team with the worst winning percentage, he goes to that team. So if you remember last year, was it was it the Padres or somebody put like 3 players on outright waivers, and the Reds picked up 2 of them, I think, or Cleveland, or somebody who was, I think it was Cleveland, and they got like Giolito and somebody else too. And they just, I mean, because they had the least, and they were hoping that they would go to a winning team, and they were just kind of swept up by not winning teams. I think maybe the Reds even did pick up somebody in that same process last year. It was the Angels. OG says it was the Angels. Yeah, because it was Giolito and somebody else. But it's kind of that same thing. It's strange. So we've got Reds have 2 now. Angels basically put their entire team on waivers last year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was crazy. So that's essentially what it is. Nothing changes until they get claimed. Jared Jones is set to come back and pitch in Tuesday's game against the Cubs. I saw Jared Jones last week. I talked about that on Friday's show. He looks like he's all the way ready. It's one thing to see them pitch well, but it's another thing, like the body language and the swagger was all there. He was definitely feeling it. So I think that's a big, I think it's a important sign, and they've said he's coming back. I feel like there's just a lot here, and I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. So a little inside baseball. Had like a long day yesterday, kind of like went to bed early. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Jones is starting Tuesday. It's the only one it's to be announced. And I think it was said by Harrington on the show. So, yeah, Keller, Jones, Skeens it's a good matchup against the Cubs. I mean, you're gonna run right through them. Holder and Majinski still not ready. They said they need to sharpen pitches up still. That was pretty obvious in their outings this week. I saw a good outing from Majinski, but the day I wasn't there, the Bubba Chandler day, I think he gave up 3 or 4 runs in his inning. So they also said that Baraki's really encouraged and optimistic, getting closer. Nick Gonzalez is getting close. There's a good chance he comes back soon. I'm going to be interested to see, because there's a lot of moves, a lot of guys coming back. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with the roster decisions coming up, because you're going to have obviously Triolo, you're going to have Bay, you're going to have McKinney that are kind of all like, what are they going to do here? With Gonzalez coming back, you're going to make a decision on some of them. With the Taylor stuff, I mean, if Taylor goes, if he's claimed, I don't know that they get rid of Bay. I don't know that he's one of the moves. I don't see Sawinski coming up anytime soon. However, he did have a pretty decent game on Saturday. He hit, let me think. He flew out to the warning track and then hit a home run and then hit one off the wall for a double. And I'd said that he hit a home run and a couple other balls over 100 miles an hour in the couple games that I went to. Hit a double off the center field wall. In one of them, tried to push it to a triple. And if you haven't heard the name Chase DeLauder from Cleveland's system, he was playing his first week in AAA. Big dude with an absolute cannon. And he was playing left. The ball bounced towards center. And Jack saw the center fielder miss the ball and it come off the wall. And so he head down rounded second. This guy picked it up and threw an absolute seed to third. That dude has a crazy arm. But yeah, I mean, with Gonzalez coming back up, there'll be some kind of decision. Triolo, Alika, McKinney, Bay, kind of all those guys that are kind of waiting. You also have Kutch, surprisingly, getting closer, and Harrington said he should return when he's eligible this week. And I think that was probably the most surprising to me. I mean, it felt like they haven't really said much. And I was really, I mean, we had the conversation here where we were wondering if that was going to be it. But No, he's just going to be back, and it's fine. I guess there's still more of that conversation that could happen if it had to. But as of right now, looks like he's just coming back. Jim says Jack's AAA OPS not over 400 yet. It's been really rough, really rough. And so it's not, he's not close. Now, I don't think that he would have to get his AAA OPS over 400 necessarily, but if he would play, I guess he probably would, but if he would play a couple weeks where it's sitting up and he starts to get it back, I mean, even if he doesn't get the bulk back, you could say, well, recently he's been good. But I'll be honest with you, that's not on the way. Like, it doesn't look like it's close. So I'm not pining for him. My goal still is to get Jack back next year. I think that he probably finishes the season out in AAA. I don't see that. I don't see the confidence yet. I mean, like we watched 3 games. He definitely was defensively. He played really well. But I mean, at the plate, he's still off a little bit. He's hitting the ball hard a little bit, but it's just not there. Andy Haynes will ruin him again if he comes back. Well, I mean, that's assuming Andy Haynes is going to be back when Jack comes back. So that if that is 2025, I'm going to guess that they're both not going to be there, or one of them is not going to be there. My money would be on Andy Haynes not being there. So that's where I would go. I don't think that Andy Haynes is going to have an opportunity to do it. Is Jack, quote, not working on anything, quote, again? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say he's not working on anything. I don't know where that would come from. He's just got a way. He completely changed his approach completely in the off season. It's going to need an off season to do it again. I just don't. I don't see it happening. I see a lot of, we talked about body language with Jared Jones. I could say the same thing about Jack. It's not there. The body language is not there. I went with a buddy of mine who's a collegiate basketball coach, head coach, here in town. And he went to the game with me, and he said, body language wise, he said, that guy looks like he has no confidence at all. That tells you what you need to know. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's still hope for me. I mean, 26 home runs last year led the team. I mean, I think there's something there. Until I see him come back from an off season worth of work, I'll make my decision then. I like the guy. That's literally the extent of it. That doesn't mean that I think he's ready to come up right now. So be nice, Jim. Key Brian Hayes not doing anything yet. He's not there. Let me see. Who did we not cover? Well, let's get on to the injuries that happened this week. Hunter Stratton was pulled from the game the other day. Left knee patella tendon rupture. He's been placed on the 60-day IL. Brady Feigl joined the team on Sunday. He's been added to the 40-man. Steel City, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doubled and homered. I actually saw him hit quite a few balls this week that were good, but it's still, until the body language. I mean, like, one of his home runs was a sweeper inside from a lefty. Both of his home runs this week were off lefties, but it was like there's a short porch in right field. So anyway, Hunter Stratton, man, that was a tough injury to watch. You knew it right away. You knew that it wasn't going to be good. You hate to see that from anyone. He's been pretty effective for the Pirates this year. It's a real bummer to see him go down like that. As far as the guy who replaced him, I mean, 33, it's Drew Maggi on the mound, right? It's a 33-year-old who's finally made it here. And my guess is when Baraki's ready, he's gone. But as far as Hunter Stratton, I don't know if anybody in the chat knows how long like something like that is. Like, is he going to be back for the spring? Is he just out for the year? Is it, I don't know. Like, is this a guy that's not going to be back till mid-season next year? I mean, it's a knee injury, but I don't know if that's like a 6 or a 9 month. I guess I don't know, like 4 more months of the year. So if it's 6 months, you could see him coming back early on. If it's a 9-month recovery or something like that. So Jim says 12 months. Yeah. It's a year. OG says, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Jim also adds maybe a career ender for Stratton. Because if he misses all of next year, he's 29 after that. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Maybe that's a situation where you get into being Brady Fiegel, where you end up at 33 and getting back. I know that Stratton's already had his debut and everything, but I don't know, man. Like, you won't see it happen in Pittsburgh because of something like this, but relievers can go long. Yeah, see, Gary even says, I bet he won't survive the 40-man. They won't add him back. And, you know, there's no doubt. And he might end up at some point, you know, making it with another team once he gets back. I mean, relievers can kind of go a little bit longer. You could see this guy at least. I mean, he's not ever gonna get to like a long career or even probably to like free agency in a sense. I mean, he'll get there out of default, but I don't know, man. That's a really sucky one because you just feel like this guy was finally figuring some things out. And it's not even an arm injury, right? Like, that's the thing. It's not even an arm injury where he's getting injured the way that you would expect him to get injured. It's just a freak accident. I don't know if I don't know. Man, that was a tough one. And when you think about it even further from just watching it, it's a tough one there too. So, yeah, I agree with Jim here. He says he's been in the org forever, so I could see them dropping him, then give him a minor league deal. I think that's probably the path, but like at some point, I don't know. Yeah, maybe he can make his way back with Pittsburgh. It's totally possible. But OG said same injury that took Edwin Diaz 2023 after he blew out his patella in the WBC. Okay. So I wasn't remembering that was the same injury there. But it's kind of, I mean, at least it wasn't happened during a celebration. Just going after a ball. Yeah, that's a tough one. Joey Bart also goes down with an injury, left hamstring injury, just trying to beat out double play, right? Trying to beat it out, or was it just a ground ball? Either way, trying to beat it out. Kind of pulled up. Initially, I thought quad because he kind of held the front of his leg there, but left hamstring injury. He's on the IL or will be moved to the IL. And Henry Davis is going to get called back up. And this is a big one because I felt like July was great for Davis. It's been a little different in August. Let's see, July at 359 with a 414 on base, 3 homers, 5 doubles, starting to hit the ball hard. Bart obviously has been a huge part of this offense. We all thought, let's get rid of Grandal and get Henry Davis up here, but maybe sometimes this is why you don't do stuff like that. Then you'd be stuck even more. I saw some people asking for Jason DeLay. The numbers aren't good recently. Thought I had them written down here, but apparently I don't. Jason DeLay, I might have tweeted that out earlier today, right as Bart got hurt. checking my notes here. Delay OPS 572 in August, but it's only 8 games. Davis 784 with 3 homers in 18 games. I mean, he's also this month hitting 274 with a 346 on base. 3 doubles, 3 homers, 18 games. Completely different body language from Davis that you're getting from Jack Sawinski when I was talking about Jack. I mean, it's all, the confidence is all there. He's always 100%. There's no doubt about that, but that's Ryan actually says Davis suffers from confidence issues like Jack. He's doing well right now. I'd say he seems confident. He seems ready to go. So, as far as that goes, if it is the confidence issues that he struggles with, I mean, he's not struggling right now, so everything's good. He hit the ball hard just about every time. I mean, foul balls he was hitting hard. It just felt, you know what I mean? Seems like he's ready to hit at least. I was trying to think of, like, nothing really stood out catching wise. He caught one game. He caught 2 games I went to, and he DH'd the other one. He DH'd the Wednesday afternoon game. Yeah, Ryan says at the MLB level, but that's assuming he doesn't do well, which he hasn't yet. So we'll see how he does. My 4-year-old was pumped up. He got a ball when we went to the game Friday night. Henry Davis threw both of the kids a ball when he was just catching. We were just hanging out down there. As well as, like, he just kept throwing them into the net. I was just throwing them out to kids, and a couple of, like, he threw like 12 baseballs over there. So everybody, it's kind of like being on Oprah. Everybody got a ball. But I don't know. I'm excited to see how Henry Davis responds to this, because he is hitting the ball well right now. Seems like his at-bats aren't wasted. I'm trying to remember what all I saw from him, but he's still, I don't know. I mean, he's still a first-round pick. He's still young. He's still barely really scratched the surface of what he can be. And whether he was called up too early or not, we'll see. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does and see what their plan is and how often he catches. I'm trying to think. So he caught Jared Jones on Tuesday night. And then he would have caught on Friday, he would have caught Thomas Harrington. So he's getting a little bit of seeing them a little bit. And I don't know. Jim says, I don't think it's his last chance, but it doesn't look, if it doesn't look good, you can't go into 25 relying on him. I think that's true. He'll get a long leash. OG says, I think it's 100%. Odds Bart is the opening day catcher. That's a good question. I don't know. I believe that they've liked Bart enough that they'll try to keep him around. I don't know. He would be a free agent. Am I right? I think I'm on the pitching side of things right now. I'm trying to think of where Bart would be on this. Where the heck is he? Somebody's got something. Yeah. There he is. Got to look at his service time here. Oh, geez. He's only at 2 years. He's still arbitration. He's just now arbitration. I'm way off. So there's no question. Wow. Thanks. Everybody's on this, and I'm just sitting here. I just feel like we've been hearing Bart's name forever. But it's just because of he was 4 years he played with San Francisco, and he only got 2 years of service. So he'll be almost to 3. But man, that is crazy. Thanks, guys. Yeah, if Bart comes into spring hitting, he's in. There's probably not much question about that. Endy in the mix. Shared says Endy's in the mix too for 2025. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but we went into this year thinking our catching position was okay too, or we went into the offseason. So, yeah, you can never count on that. Certainly not on the younger players and such. You just can't count on that. I want to talk about Thomas Harrington for a second too, because I was really excited. I wanted to see Chandler on Thursday and I didn't get to. I mentioned that, but we did go down and see Harrington on Friday, and just further pushed how much I like Harrington. He went 5 1/3 perfect, and it seemed like, I don't think it was exactly like this. It seemed like he ended every inning with a strikeout. It was like, let me get 2 outs and then let me just shut him down. And man, I mean, he just looked good entirely. He's pinpoint accuracy, everything plays. I don't know, man. He's throwing 93, 94. He's not hitting upper 90s. He's not blowing guys away. It's a completely different thing than watching Skeens and Jones and those guys who are just powering it by. It seems like he already has the pitching down. And to me, that's just like a huge thing that I think a lot of guys, like even like thinking like Luis Ortiz and Ronzi Contreras and these guys that we were really excited about because of the stuff that they have and the velocity that they're throwing it. Kyle Nicholas is a huge one, but like Harrington's he's just already got that. He's got an idea of what he wants to throw, and it seems like he just puts it where he wants it every time. So I don't know. And then you got the whole thing where like Jared Jones was like, oh, I picked up my fastball grip from Harrington, which made, with Jones having, 4 to 5 miles an hour more on that fastball, made a huge difference there. But no, I mean, Harrington just seems just rounded in that way. Like it's the pitching stuff that he's got. Yeah, Jim says his command is most impressive. He throws his stuff where he wants to. I mean, it's exactly like, when you're going to the AAA games, they have the challenge system already in place, which, by the way, is great. Like, I am so against the automated strike zone because I like the human element of everything. I like the fact that you can challenge things because you want to get the egregious ones right. Just think about Thursday's game with Skeens and Lodolo. They got so many strikes off the plate. Even Sunday's game, there was a lot of them that were thrown on the outside corner that were thrown off the outside corner that were called strikes. And I saw 2 challenges that were like 0.2 inches off the plate. Called a strike and they challenge it. And when it's 0.2 inches, I'm like, you were lucky. There's no way you saw that. And then you see like the way that they're doing it is good. I mean, you've got to rein guys in. Like Palacios had a call that he didn't like and immediately, like emotionally, immediately hit it to challenge and didn't get it. And so they lost the challenge. In a different game, there was a call from Peguero where it was on the inside part of the plate and he challenged, and it was like barely any of it was on the plate. And so he lost his challenge. And then like 2 pitches later, an even worse call, and Peguero tries to challenge again, which was something that I hadn't known before, but you can't challenge twice in an at-bat. So there's even a little bit there, like he challenged one early and then lost one late in the at-bat, and you can't challenge twice in the same at-bat. They still had a challenge. Actually, it was... No, I'm wrong. He won his challenge. The first one, he won. He went to challenge again, and they said you can't, because I remember him saying like, well, no, he won his challenge, so he still has one, but not in the same at-bat. You can't challenge twice in the same at-bat. So that was pretty interesting too, but the challenge system is great. But there were 3 or 4 challenges in that game where it was, I think he got 2 of them because then Cleveland ran out. Or no, they challenged. Henry Davis challenged the calls. And they were winning these challenges because it looked like they were off, and he was just painting. Including one of them, I put up a video of the Jared Jones one, and we talked about the Jared Jones one where it was right on the edge. But for Harrington, it was like more than that was challenged by Davis, and they were getting almost every one of them. I don't think they lost any. I think both of them were. I think it was the Palacios one, and then I don't remember if they left the game with still one challenge left, but just absolute paint, and really impressed with Thomas Harrington. Well, like I said, 5 1/3 perfect innings, and then gives up an infield single, which was like a chopper over his head, and then it was like the second bounce. Nick York came across in front of second base and misplayed it. I could see you calling it an error. Not that it mattered because the next ball was smoked in the gap for a double. Then it was second and third, and then a ground out to first scored the only run against Harrington. And then he struck out the last guy to get out of the inning. And, or maybe it was a fly ball to get out of the inning. And then that was his night. 6 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. But just, I don't know. The command is so good. The pitches are good. A lot of, I don't know what the swing and miss. Well, I didn't look at the actual numbers of like the swing and miss. I think you can get to that stuff still. There's some stuff missing on Baseball Savant from minor league games, but, so I didn't go back and try to dig into that, but I looked at, I was looking at Saturday's game and just noticed that there was a lot of stuff that was kind of missing from Baseball Savant on the minor league side. But I should go back and look at that because it just felt like it was just pinpoint. He's just really good. Just like everything I see from him. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in that game in particular. I don't really think so. All right, so what do we got here? I saw a couple people talking about the matchups. We have the matchups here coming up with the Cubs. Tyone and Mitch Keller on Monday. Steele, Jared Jones, and then Hendricks and Skeens. Seems like we got the last one if you just played the game on paper. Other than that, it should be a pretty good series. Cruz 0 for 5 against Tyone. That's interesting. All right. I think that's all I actually have. Expected to have a guy on here who's a Reds fan, who's a buddy of mine. We were going to talk a little bit about Votto's retirement. Since he's not here, we don't have to talk about it, but congrats to Joey Votto. No matter what you think about the Reds, that's a Hall of Famer. That's an absolute Hall of Famer. Cheryl says she's going to the game Tuesday. You'll get to see Jared Jones, I believe. I'd be surprised if we don't. I mean, that's what we're hearing. So, see Jared Jones, that's good. Steel City said that Tyone has really struggled lately, giving up lots of runs. So, interesting there. Coming back to PNC Park, though, I don't know. Can't trust Reds fans. Well, if you're married, you know that sometimes you don't call the shots. So, no, I'm just kidding. No, they had plans and he just didn't know. So, I don't know if he didn't know about them or he forgot about them, or we just kind of had this plan for a while and he probably just didn't say anything. And so they're up there having a good time. We'll try to get him on. You guys will like him. He's a good dude. But yeah, I don't think I left anything out here. I know that I was kind of flying through that. This felt like I started getting ready to do this. I obviously had to redo my notes when he wasn't coming on, and then I kind of went through this, and then all of a sudden, all this stuff started coming out today, which I love. I mean, I don't care. I didn't, I just had a bunch of stuff about run differential and how we get blown out more than we should, and that's basically all there. Jim, I'm not sure. I would like to get down to one of the games. I'll talk to you about that. Maybe if you're going to one of them or something, maybe we'll figure something out, because I'd like to get down there. Last year I went to the last Cincy series and we had the big 9-run comeback. So, it's probably worth it. To catch a game. And then maybe I can also balance out your luck on the road. Maybe we could do something like that. But either way, I don't know. It's I'd like to get down there for at least one of those. When is it? September 21, 22, 23, I think is what it is. Yeah. 20, 21, and 22. I like that 21 day game too. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to get down there. Other than that, I think let me check my notes here. I think Jake is going to be back on Thursday. Shoot. I don't even know what page I wrote all that on. Yeah. Jake will be back next week. Watch him not be back. He will be. Then you don't have to listen to me the whole time. We'll get him back on here. Thanks everybody in the chat. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all those good things. If you're listening on audio, also subscribe because then you can turn on those auto downloads and all that stuff. Always helps out. Otherwise, that's it. Let's get out of here. It's Sunday. I'm actually going to shut this thing down early. That never happens. But, it's happening now. Thanks again, guys. Let's go Bucs.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs.